Oh boy, looks like we're about to be tackling through the hardest games in the entire compilation of Super Mario All-Stars, which appears to be known as Super Mario Bros. 2 The Lost Levels, which, either way, we'll explain more details about that once we get this run-through started. So, hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Ray the Flying Squirrel here, and I'm Mighty the Armadillo here. Welcome you all back for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Mario All-Stars, aka Super Mario Collection for both the Super Nintendo / Super Famicom, as well as the forms of the Nintendo Wii, thanks to the forms of the 25th anniversary of Super Mario Bros. So either way, yeah, last time we've essentially did manage to able to done the second run-through in Super Mario Bros. Thanks to the forms of hard mode, and as a result, nothing different about it aside from the fact that, you know, Goombas have been replaced by Buzzy Beetles to make things a little bit more muted to the forms of the fireballs and stuff like that with the fire flower. But either way though, chances are though we did that particular playthrough of Super Mario Bros. On Super Mario All-Stars version, no problem. So today, for this video is that we're about to be tackling through the second game in this entire compilation, as I said before, known as Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, or if for those of you who lived in Japan, this game was originally called Super Mario Bros. 2, which as a result, it's more accurately like a real version of Super Mario Bros. 2, because aesthetically speaking, it plays pretty much exactly like the forms of how it does in the original Super Mario Bros. But again, I'll explain more details about this once we get to the later stages in the game. And as you can tell, since I'm going to be taking control of the game this time around, because unlike the forms of how it does in the original Super Mario Bros., that essentially in Super Mario Bros. The original does have two-player multiplayer, as in co-op aspect. In this game this time around though, there's only for one player, and basically, when you get into the actual title screen, which is very similar to the first Super Mario Bros., but except this time it now actually has a jumping Koopa Troopa. Like, we didn't even start the game off, there was one enemy on screen, and there was actually a Mario game and Luigi game, and there are some quite significant differences between both playable characters simultaneously. Like, for instance, Mario plays exactly like the forms of how it does in the original, whilst, as you can tell, I'm going to be selecting Luigi for this particular run-through this time around because he plays a little bit more differently than the forms of how it does it for Mario. In addition to that though, from the first game, because as you can tell, Luigi plays very differently compared to Mario, which all he does is that basically not only does he able to actually have the ability to jump higher, but also he does have a bit of a slippery traction to himself, which as a result, he might be slippery on ice, let's just say this right now. And as you can tell, I'm going to be going for an infinite one-up trick, as you can see, just like the forms of how it does it in Super Mario Bros., except this time around though, that you're actually going to be doing the infinite one-up trick at the very beginning of the game, specifically in level 1-1. So as a result though, yeah, if you ever played the original Super Mario Bros. Before, you know exactly how this sounds, and basically about the fact that once again it's all about timing based and everything else like that. However, the biggest differences between this game than the likes of Super Mario Bros. The original is the level design is actually a lot different, meaning about the fact that this essentially is more accurately like a more of a challenging version of the Super Mario Bros. I'm gonna say this right now, because let me tell you, this is by far the hardest game in this entire compilation. Well, mind you about the fact that this game did originally came out in 1986, originally came out on the Famicom Disk System, which just only came out in Japan. Well, the game has been ready for its international release, but Nintendo of America decided to ultimately cancel that game to able to release into the forms of America as well as Europe, because, relatively speaking, the game has been developed by Stain himself. Like, either way though, because relatively speaking though, well, aesthetically speaking, again, it looks very similar to the first game, although as you can tell, much like the forms of how it does in the first Super Mario Bros. In Super Mario All-Stars version, once again we're gonna have to ignore the warp zones. Now the reason why we have to skip those warp zones entirely in this game throughout is that there is actually a special world that you can only access once you complete all 8 main worlds in this one particular run-through. So as a result, looks like we've only got about 100 lives for this run so far, which, kind of think about it, it does sound more likely like the equivalent to the 100 Mario Challenge in the Super Mario Maker game, believe it or not. Well, assuming of course if you try to set the game on expert mode, like even then, now imagine that. but except the fact that we have to utilize with the Super Nintendo controller. So either way though, just as odd though, that might be saying something, so... And of course, you're still able to get the usual power-ups, just like the forms of power does on the first game, such as, of course, the mushroom allows you to grow bigger, the Starman also grants you a temporary invincibility, and even a Fire Flower makes a return, except the fact that getting a Fire Flower in this game is actually pretty rare in this game, because there were a few times you might generally get screwed over by the forms of not only certain enemy encounters, but also with the forms of the actual how cryptic the level design can be, because as a result, and also something's worth noting for, a lot of people complain about the difficulty in this game, most notably because it's a bit too much, so as a result though, it could be summed up as the level design itself, and the momentum speaking, it's pretty much exactly the same as the forms of how it does on the first game, although except the fact that you're actually going to be taking control of Luigi this time around, making things a little bit more, you know what I mean, a lot more chaotic as well as, you know, difficult at the same time. So, yeah, that was before when the Super Mario Bros. 2, aka Super Mario USA, managed able to reuse that particular familiar moveset for Luigi, what brings us into, like, high jump and everything. But either way, though, first one is done. No devs on it so far, until specifically World 3 and onwards, or technically speaking World 2 and onwards, just because, as I said before, that's, the level design is what makes things a little bit differently compared to the first game handles it. So either way though, as to be expected, we'll go through every single levels in the game. However though, we're only gonna go for one run through this time around though, which is a good thing, because unlike any forms of how it does it in the Famicom Disk System version of the Super Mario Bros. 2 The Lost Levels, that basically though, there are another selections of worlds, which we'll probably save that conversation until for later, because well, today's date is of course is the 7th of March today, in this case in 2023 today, and guess what bro, only a month left until the Super Mario Bros. Movie, it should be on its way now, so as a result, very excited about this, and especially noticeable until by that time we've only just got about 2 more days to go until the final trailer is going to be up for the Super Mario Bros. Movie, so I'm very pumped about it, and let's just say for this point bro, maybe once we've completely done with the forms of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, imagine that. Maybe we can probably fetch some popcorn just to see what the final trailer is going to be all about. But either way though, we'll have to save that conversation a later time, because relatively speaking though about the fact, I'm sure that Maxi has already mentioned about this loads of times during the course of In a Piglet's Big Game Let's Play, so as a result though, not much else to be more around here, well, apart from the fact that, well, relatively speaking actually, that Sonic, he's almost done with the forms of Sonic Origins compilation so far. Well, mind you about the fact that I think he's now onto the halfway point in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles portion, and wait a second, am I... Oh, I totally forgot there are some invisible blocks here. Yeah, there might be some weird design choices with all these level designs in mind, that basically, if you're familiar with that particular point A to point B kind of syndrome, well, in certain levels in the game, forces you to able to find those hidden blocks in order to progress. Yeah, that could be a trollster for you, because especially noticeable about the fact that if you think you're basically done here, but as a result though, you have to find that specific hidden block, or invisible blocks I meant to say, in order to able to progress. Now, relatively speaking, that when it comes to Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, this is the one I played the least out of, mainly because of all this nerve-wracking difficulty, and not only that though, well, usually because most people complain about the difficulty in this game is a bit too much. I mean, sure, it plays like Mario, and, well, it looks like Mario, but ultimately speaking though, the level design is definitely not Mario, because it's almost made by, like, Kaizo-like prequel something, but either way though, that might be saying something. And also there are some occasions where the enemy placements can be inconsistent at times. Like, for instance, whenever we get to World 2-4, which is the level I'm actually in right now, basically about the fact that sometimes the game expects you to able to almost get jump scared at you. Like, in this part in particular, as an example of this, that basically, look at this, it was supposed to be a fire bar, but it's usually nothing. But if you manage to die in this level, and if you come back into that point, and then they just surprises you with the fire bar surprises at you. So, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of inconsistency with all that. you know, the enemy placement sometimes. But luckily the Bowser battle is actually pretty easy until World 6 and onwards, just because, much like before, that basically it starts off very simple, like he doesn't seem that much of a threat, until likely in World 6 and onwards that he starts to toss the hammers at you, just like in the first game, so... And of course, just like always, we're able to rescue Toad every time whenever we complete one of the worlds in particular. Ah, dang it! I forgot about those Hammer Bros at the start of a level! Ah, there goes my 100th life. Well, thankfully though, unlike in the forms of how it does in Super Mario Bros. In the Super Mario All-Stars version, if you get game over, you can actually able to actually try the actual level again. So as a result though, it no longer strictly going to go back all the way to the start of a world, which I think that's actually a massive improvement, especially because unlike the original version of the game, where basically if you get a game over, you have to start all over the world you died in. So as a result though, yeah, at least this particular version is super recommendable for those of you who have a first time playing it, especially because once again, you do have the save system, so either way... Oh god, I did not notice there's a spring there. Oh yeah, by the way, something worth noting for when it comes to warp zones in particular, here's one example of this, that the reason why we're not going to go for the warp zones run through, like this stage for instance, that basically if you spring into the actual, like, the green spring, don't hold right, because otherwise, once again, the screen will just go locked itself, and basically what happens was, if you go all the way to the right, there's actually that specific warp zone that you've actually stumbled across into. And to make matters even much more punishing is that it takes you all the way back to the beginning of the game, which that was definitely a lot more punishing than the forms of how it does it on the first Super Mario Bros. So yeah, I can totally see why about the fact that a lot of people get a lot of rage-inducing moments in this game. Well, not just by the forms of the Super Mario All-Stars version, but it was also by the forms of the original version on the Famicom Disk System, alongside with the forms of the inferior port in Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, dubbed as Super Mario Bros. For Super Players. So either way though, we're not going to talk about Super Mario Bros. Deluxe for a little while, until God knows if we run out of ideas for doing Mario Let's Plays for the time being. Well, unless about the fact that we've already done most of those Mario Party Let's Plays from now on, although aside from the fact that we still got Mario Kart content along the way, thanks to DLC content and stuff like that. So, oh yeah, as soon as I just found out something is about the fact that when I looked up on the Mario Party Legacy website, that I did saw the actual smaller image of, yeah, Birdo's model was a thing on the actual card customization image, but they haven't shown us the forms of the actual change of the character roster so far. Well, mind you, we'll point things out until, God knows, until March, or sometime in next month in April, but either way though, my guess it will probably have to be sometime in April, but either way though, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So, oh, speaking of such though, it's about the fact that, did you guys know, they somehow, for whatever reason, when it comes to the Nintendo Switch Online stuff, that basically they once again managed to able to upload the exactly the same overview trailer, but there are some new differences this time, that basically they now include Game Boy and Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance stuff this time. Well, to be more specifically Game Boy stuff, as a matter of fact, because relatively speaking though, they're only talking about the standalone version of the actual Nintendo Switch Online subscription services, but either way though, I honestly have no idea why they just come up with the idea to able to actually upload the exactly the same video as the forms of how it does it on the past. Like, relatively speaking, they did that once during the forms of 2019, and then also say applies with 2021, and now we actually now onto 2023, where basically the actual exactly the same video leniency just seems to exist. Oh boy, it's gonna be one of those puzzle levels, isn't there? Like, I've honestly have no idea how I'm supposed to get up there. Like, I can jump high enough and oh, it's just another invisible blocks. Oh, that's just nice. So, yeah, because of this though, I'm actually going to be deciding to watch Ray playing the game this time around, because I already did the majority of Super Mario Bros. The original, like, take control of Mario and stuff like that, so relatively speaking, that Ray's going to take control of Luigi this time, so, yeah, that's essentially what I'm going to do for this point. Well, you could have just helped me, bro, but, of course, you just got to able to sit back and watch me suffer by the forms of a lot of, well, not so much for death counts for, you know, certain levels in this game. But it's just about the fact that, well, I do apologize if my commentary gets a little bit kind of iffy at this point today, or at least I got myself my extra life back. So as a result, that's I just felt a little bit slightly tired today. I mean, relatively speaking though, I'm still fully awake as it goes by. So, oh boy, there's a super mushroom right here. But there's also another new item that is considered this to be very dangerous for most players. And that's what appears to be by the forms of the poison mushroom, which, yeah, basically though, you simply just have to avoid that item at all times because, well, touching is exactly like touching the enemy, so don't touch it. Especially noticeable if you grow in size within Super Mushroom, then obviously you go back to small form, but if you dare touch it with small form, basically you die instantly. So either way though, it's just, you just have to be cautious, you know, like this for instance. So, oh, of course, in addition to those returning enemies, you know, ever since in Journey forms of the first Super Mario Bros., we still come across into, you know, Koopa Troopas, Goombas, and all that stuff. But there's also a red variations of those Piranha Plants, which are a lot more more aggressive. So as a result of that kind of stuff, though, they still don't pop up when if you standing right next to the top of the pipe, and I have no complaints about it. Well, except the fact that, well, obviously, unfortunately, this game will decide to bring back those pesky Hammer Bros again. In fact, they appeared a lot more earlier this time around, as opposed to the forms of somewhere of a late game. So, don't expect things too much about the fact that I will die a lot in this particular game of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, imagine that. But either way, though, I can totally see why a lot of people seem to be able to, like, get a lot of rage-inducing moments in this entire Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, as a matter of fact. Like, either way, though, it's just there. I mean, relatively speaking, though, it was just there for existence, for it comes to likely for those of you mastered the original Super Mario Bros. But either way, though, there's nothing wrong to able to make the actual game itself a lot more difficult. But jeez Louise, some of the development team must have really liked Bottomless Pit so much. So as a result of that kind of stuff, though, they just keep on reusing the exact same, like, I don't know, it has been a very long while since I actually noticed something like this. And fun fact, that, did you know about the fact that, well, despite the actual, the playthrough was no longer there anymore, that takes place in 2011, mind you, this is actually one of the first ever Let's Plays we've ever done, according to what Sonic did actually told me something. Because basically, though, about the fact that I'm pretty sure that, both Tails and, Orange Teddy, as far as I'm aware, they both managed to tackle for this game in particular, Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. Mind you, they've played the Super Mario All-Stars version of the game, because it's a lot more tolerable than the forms of how it does on the Famicom Disk System version, from what I've heard. And on top of all that stuff, though, is about the fact that despite the commentary is way off, and in addition to that, though, the quality of the recording session is pretty bad. And in addition to that, though, they suffered by the forms of a lot of frustration back in the day in 2011, and that was considerably one of our first ever Let's Plays we've ever done, despite the fact that it's no longer there anymore. I was so close to the flagpole. If only if Luigi doesn't slip. And also, you forgot about something earlier, is that I'm presuming to you that both Tails and Orange Teddy have both played as Mario throughout the whole run-through instead of Luigi, so yeah, to make things even much more challenging for this game, you play the game as Luigi, basically, so yeah, I guess there's not much else to say about this, honestly, guys, although apart from the fact that, well, relatively speaking, that's as far as I can say about Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, basically. It's like an extreme difficult version of the original Super Mario Bros. With some interesting twists to it, ranging between, you know, rage-inducing level design, and also on top of that, well, the Bowser battles are basically pretty much exactly the same as the original counterparts, so there's nothing different from here. Even though, relatively speaking, that's as far as I can think about it. Also, I just realized something, is the fact that recently, that KepKing74, he's actually going to be going back into the forms of the format of the forms of Double the Let's Plays, ever since I won't classify as saying the last time he actually did done double Let's Plays of his life, which appears to be by the forms of, I would say, New Super Luigi U and Pikmin 3, both on the Wii U. Well, I was assuming so anyway. Oh! Not to mention, though, with the forms of Hyrule Warriors, with, Hyrule Warriors with Super Mario Galaxy 2. That's basically though, that was the last time he actually did double the Let's Plays during that specific marathon of any sorts. But obviously he's still working on Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door still. Like, at the moment right now, he's now on to Chapter 3. And also during that time, he's also doing Plants vs. Zombies on specifically the PC Steam version, according to the actual footage anyway. Because I almost assume that he's probably gonna... How did he touch me? That was a pixel. That was a flipping pixel. Are you kidding me? What? Anyway, enough about that. So yeah, I almost thought he's going to be tackling through the iPhone version of the game, because relatively speaking, while we haven't exactly played that game, mind you, in our own lifetime, just because we're more into the forms of Mario and Sonic stuff, as you probably guys should already know, and on top of all that stuff though, we're just, well, oh god, what is this? I think that's what appears to be another new level obstacle that was actually introduced in this game, which appears to be the wind. So basically though, you're forced to able to get blown by the wind. So, not exactly sure why that's there though, but, well, wish him luck I guess, to able to try to, you know, evacuate with all that. I don't know what you would call it for this point. Ah, jeez. How can I expect things to get a lot more insanely difficult than this? I mean, relatively speaking, I just need... Well, there's a vine up there, but I can't seem to be able to get up there, so... What's the point of getting up there in the first place? But either way... No! Oh, more invisible blocks. Christ, cut that stuff out. I mean... Ay, ay, ay. In fact, let me know in the comments down below, actually, for the question of the day. Have you guys ever played Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels before? On the NES or the Super Nintendo version? Well, mind you about the fact that, well, the Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels was also on the NSO services and what have you on the NES, strangely enough. So, either way, though, that might be saying something, so... So what we're gonna do, for the sake of the forms of this entire run-through of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels in Super Mario All-Stars version... Oh god, oh god, oh god, get away, get away! At least unlike any forms of how it does on the Super Mario Maker 2, where basically though, if you just somehow run away from that poison mushroom, he will definitely follow you no matter what. Like, he can just jump up and chase after you. I mean, relatively speaking though, that might be haunting, so... So anyway, as what I was meant to say, I think, relatively speaking, we might as well go through 6 worlds for this video, but as far as the next video is concerned, on Thursday, mind you, how the heck did I fall through here? Oh, wait a second, something tells me it might be something to do with the actual top screen right there, so... But either way, we somehow made it, regardless, so... Oh boy. Although, regardless of anything else, though, that luckily we've got the infinite amount of, well, at the moment, we actually on to... How much lives are we on to right now, if you're probably wondering, Mighty? Let's just say, as soon as when the title card is actually shown up, 94 lives. Gee, we seem to be able to waste a lot of extra lives at the moment, thanks to forms of cheap enemy placement, and on top of all that stuff, though, it's just with level design in general, it just kicks up butts no matter what. So, either way, for World 5-3, it's basically like a puzzle level, I'm pretty sure, because obviously you have to enter that pipe before you progress, so keep that in mind. So, what's also nice about this is, though, is about the fact that, well, obviously I don't have to worry about just trying to able to go all the way back to the beginning of the world that we died on. So, well, assuming of course if we get game over, although we might lose our point scores if we do that. So, and what's also nice about this too, is that if you really want able to actually access to the other special worlds in the game, which are Worlds A through D, on the Super Mario All-Stars version, you only have to beat the game once, bam, it transports you to World A. But in the original version, on the other hand, you have to beat the game 8 times in a row until you excessive. So as a result, that's way too tedious. So either way though, that's all I could really ask for saying this, so... Oh yeah, talking of which though, actually, I've actually recently watched the forms of the Maxi Maxi 10 version of this particular playthrough of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, and let me tell you, his playthrough sucks. Mainly because of, obviously, bad quality, that's another thing. And second, commentary borrows from other YouTubers, as you probably already expect. And most notably of them all, though, is that for whatever reason, that the actual sound on TV was actually on mono right now, or relatively speaking on mono setting, whilst compared to the default of how it does it on stereo, that you can able to actually hear a full music in the background. But either way, though, that might be saying something, I suppose. I think he has issues with his TV signal issues, so... Anyway, that basically does it for World 5, and now we'll move on to World 6, and oh boy, this is where it gets a lot more dangerous around here, especially because with all these, you know, very obscure enemy placements, and on top of that, more Hammer Bros is going to be approaching towards us, and it's just maddening, I'm telling you. This game is just maddening, so either way, oh, I need that. I definitely need that Starman so I can become invincible until I plow through all kinds of enemies on screen, in addition to those jerk-off Hammer Bros, as you can tell. So either way, ha. So anyway, I need to make my leaps of faith. Okay. Oh god! The Hammer Bro just came out of nowhere! Okay, go, 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 go. Take the invincibility frames, and then just skip the whole entire... Okay. Oh my god. At least luckily though, that this game still offers you some checkpoints and what have you, so... Well, apart from a couple of level exceptions though, on the other hand, so... But at least we're going the underwater, strangely. And speaking of strange things, though, how come Koopa Troopas was actually in the underwater at this rate? And in addition to that, though, you probably already noticed on one of those levels in particular, that bloopers do come out of in the air, which I have no idea why that's almost like... I don't know, it makes things nonsensical, but either way... Oh no! I got screwed over by the Piranha Plant! Oh, please tell me I got a checkpoint. Yes, I do. Whew, thank goodness for that. Because that would be so stingy if we don't come across into any checkpoints at all. Like, that would be a nightmare, so... Alright, I don't think there's any point I can go back in that pipe down there. I can assure you it's just for coins. Oh god, I forgot about the wind! Ah. And also there was a platform down there too. Ah. How could things get any worse than this? Well, beats me. I don't know about you, bro, but it seems that this game decides to able to, well, almost taunting me, like saying that, well, I don't know, wind trickster or something. Alright, just have to wait. There we go. Alright, now we've actually made it. And let's go ahead and try this part again. Thankfully, the wind is no longer there. And I was just right at the end, too. Before I died on that section. I mean... Ay, ay, ay. Well, chill out, bro. Especially noticeable about the fact that, well, we haven't got that far left of it, though. Because, well, relatively speaking though, actually, I believe that we've almost at the halfway point on, not only the entire Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, but it's also that we've almost, at the halfway point in this entire compilation so far. Well, mind you, that Sonic did somehow manage to able to get a lot of, lead at the moment when it comes to game compilation playthroughs and stuff like that. Well, apart from the fact that, well, relatively speaking, like I said before, that he's almost finishing up with the entire story mode, and as a result, maybe at some point in this weekend, get the heck down. Alright, there we go. Oh god, those Cheep Cheeps are everywhere. Oh, jeez. At least the music is the same, so nothing different from there, so... Yeah, I'm truly sorry about this point, guys, because I have to simply concentrate, you know? Oh no, I was so close towards the end! At the very least we got a checkpoint, but still. I just can't even believe I was literally so close towards the end of that particular stage. Oh well. Alright, Blooper, get out of my face. Because I don't need you. There we go. Now we finally made it. Woo! Jeez Louise, man. So, yeah, again, I would have liked able to explain other things for this points today. I mean, relatively speaking, though, I think that's as far as we can talk about for this entire portion today. I mean, relatively speaking though, it just gets nerve-wracking until later on in World 6-3 or something, so... And in fact, kind of thinking about it, this level features, you know, more Cheep Cheeps, more thin platforms to go through, and... Oh god! How did I... Okay, I was not expecting that I, somehow survived from that Cheep Cheep over there. Okay. Okay then. I got nothing to say, and there goes my power-up, so that's just pointless. Oh god. Ah! Oh my god. Ah! Oh my god! Oh jeez. I almost first thought I was going to be playing Super Mario Bros. 35 all over again. I mean, imagine that. But again, it's a shame that that game is no longer being playable because it's online only, so... Oh man. Alright, I think we might as well do one more level because let me tell you, this is just too much. Well, in terms of this particular run-through anyway, so... Oh boy, there's another one of those puzzle elements, isn't there? Yes, there is. And, oh god! That hammer bro just came out of nowhere. Alright, so... Looks like we're not doing too bad. Alright. I think this is the point where I need to just take a breather and just save and continue. So just to ensure I don't mess this up. Because if I do mess up, I have to restart this entire stage again. Is this the way I'm supposed to go? Yep, but it certainly is. And of course, this level we're able to feature Bowser with hammers, so... Okay, now we've passed through this, so now I just need to take on Bowser himself. And this is where things get a bit tricky, because those blocks are blocking it whenever I was trying to jump over him. And there we go, World 6 is completed, and I think we should probably end things off here. So join me next time, we're about to continue things on in World 7 in Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels in Super Mario All-Stars. So I'll see you guys on Thursday. Later, dudes.